Hi everyone, welcome back to The Cutting Room, the movie show by All the Right Movies. My name is Luke, and with me are two guys as feared and enigmatic as Kaiser Soze himself, but with better hair, of course. It is Westy and Matt.
You stole the fucking track.
Hello.
In the back.
Hello.
Can you hear me in the back? Hello.
On today's show, we're going to flip you for real, by talking about an out-and-out 90s classic, The Usual Suspects.
I'm really shaking.
So, why are we talking about The Usual Suspects? A very good question. It has been floating in our orbit for a long while, I think. So it's about time that we tackled it. Mm-hmm. But we're treading a dangerous path, considering the alleged heinous behaviour of Kevin Spacey and director Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
Double whammy in this one. Despicable stuff. So, as we've said in the past on other movies, we're talking about this film in isolation.
Yeah.
We're talking about the art, not the artist.
Definitely. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I know this was my pick, talking about this film. It won an our Patreon poll.
Yeah.
However, I had only seen this film once before, prior to watching it for the show, that is. And that's probably when it first came out.
Oh, really?
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell. All right.
And I wanted to watch it again. I felt, obviously, this is the perfect opportunity. But I think the reveal ending is something that kept me from coming back to it. And I'm pretty sure that I knew what it was before my first watch, which is obviously, a massive bummer.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, somebody spoiled it for us. And that hype and the attention that it got, I think I was pushing against that as well. So a lot of it felt like watching it for the first time, this time around. And I'm looking forward to getting your take on this one, fellas. Interesting film.
Okay.
Should make for a great show.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
At the time, it was just such a real light ball from the blue. And I didn't pay much attention to it because, hadn't heard of Bryan Singer. No clue who Chris McQuarrie was. And even the cast, I think I'd seen Pete Postlethwaite in a couple of TV things. I remembered Benicio del Toro
Brasov.
from a ludicrous performance in, Brasov.
Brasov,
Not
yeah.
Benicio del Toro.
Del
Del
Toro.
Toro was in License to Kill as a
to Kill.
henchman.
Yeah. License to
Really
Kill, that's right,
ridiculous
yeah.
performance.
Gave you a
Really
great
ridiculous.
honeymoon.
Awful.
Don't worry. We gave her a nice honeymoon.
And even now, coming back to it, I think there's still a sense it's like it's an underground film that came from nowhere.
Yeah.
And it astounded everyone with that plot twist. And I think it has left a real legacy in the genre. So, it's going to be fun to talk about it.
Sure thing. What about you, Westy?
It's one that's stuck with me since I first saw it, and it kind of landed. And I thought, wow, I'm a grown-up. I'm watching a grown-up film. And I get it, and I understand it. And it was fucking brilliant. And it was like, what a year for cinema. I mean, like, Lahane came out that year. Heat, Suspects, Braveheart, Get Shorty, Mortal Kombat. All absolute
All the classics.
brilliant classics. Came out in 95. But that was the year that I was the most attuned to watching cinema, I think. Like, the kind of mid-90s. And this, for me, was one that just went, wow, that's how you make a film. This is for me. This is for us. This is for our generation. This is our generation's twist film. This is our generation's almost Hitchcock, kind of, in a way. I still love it. It still works. It's timeless for me. I think it's a great, great piece of work.
Lovely. Okay. So, who is Kaiser Soze?
What? Kaiser Soze!
We're going to find out as we line up with The Usual Suspects. 5 career criminals are brought together for a police lineup, but none of them know why. To salvage a little dignity, they team up for a job but get in well over their heads when they are obliged to repay a debt for the mysterious Kaiser Soze. Glorious hair as well.
Wonderful.
On Kaiser.
Oh,
Amazing.
Directed by Bryan Singer and written by Christopher McQuarrie, The Usual Suspects was produced by Michael McDonnell and Bryan Singer for Polygram Filmed Entertainment and distributed by Gramsci Pictures in the summer of '95. Stephen Baldwin, Gabriel Byrne, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Spacey and Benicio del Toro star as The Usual Suspects, and they're supported by great turns from Chaz Palminteri as Agent Cujon
fantastic.
and Pete Postlethwaite as Mr. Kobayashi.
Always amazing.
Our conversation on The Usual Suspect is split into 3 separate videos. We'll be talking about the writing, the cast, our favourite moments from the film, and then we'll rate it out of 10. All of that coming in parts 2 and 3, but first up, it's the director. Bryan Singer described The Usual Suspects as Double Indemnity meets Rashomon. Self-praise, no praise.
Did he? That's outrageous.
Yeah. Second feature. It was his second feature following his Sundance Grand Jury Prize win in Public Access in 1993.
Yeah.
And I'm going to open this up by talking about what I think he does from a visual point of view.
Okay.
And I think he makes things kinetic and exciting right from the off.
Yeah.
I love the title card on the opening scene, San Pedro, California, last night.
Yeah.
It's the last night bit that I love. Really like the immediacy of that. It's happening right now.
It makes it timeless as well.
Yeah, it does. It does. And things are set up really excitingly from there. There's a lot of intrigue and mystery there, and a lot that will be revealed throughout the film. Then the arrest scenes are great. I love the cut when Hockney throws the rag at the camera.
Yeah.
And the one with Del Toro pouncing about the place in a tux.
Music as well on top of that.
It's great.
Lip balm. You can tell he said lip balm on there.
The opening scene on the boat was supposed to be much longer originally. Included a subplot where Keaton plants a bomb on the boat. Some of the dialogue for that is still in the final cut, like when Keaton asks him what time it is.
Yeah.
What time is it? 12:30.
It was changed at the 11th hour, so for continuity, Singer was forced to film some of the shots from this scene in his backyard.
Wow.
Continuity
Massive
really good.
Backyard.
Yeah.
Blown up boat. Big swimming pool. Huge.
Yeah, because that shootout scene, though, it was actually a bit more controversial at the time because it got shut down at one point because the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms and Explosives got a tip that the boat was full of narcotics. So they raided the set and had it shut down. And Singer thought they'd have to rewrite and reshoot the entire ending, presumably in his backyard. So they had to call the mayor who sorted it out for them.
Oh, wow. Lovely. You're calling to the mayor. Lovely.
Yeah.
I mean, a good job as well. That scene is great. Double handguns for Keaton.
Yeah.
And McManus running across the roofs. The moonlit sky behind him. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. You better be ready in 10 seconds. I'm ready. Brilliant.
Great. And throughout, it's very stylized. It reflects kind of the noir-y intrigue of the entire narrative, I think. A lot of smoke and shadows. And the direction keeps everyone at arm's length, are always at least one step behind what's happening on screen. So it just leaves you desperate to understand just what the hell is happening here.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, maybe that's just me, but I'm just, what? I still don't know.
Nobody does. That's the point.
Westy, what about you? Singer here?
I think it's just Singer's demand of the shots and the close-ups that he uses. He uses a lot of close-ups, and everything's very, very claustrophobic. Everything's very immediate. Everything's very much you're on board as soon as you watch this film. There's no easing you into it. It's bang, you're in there. And then that burnt body when you have the noise of the
that's a great
horn
shot.
going up, and you cut to that. He's like, he's not taking any prisoners with this. He knows exactly where he's going with it. He's completely in control of it. And I think for a 30-year-old to do this as like the second feature, like we said, after Public Access, which is nowhere near as complicated as this is, it's a fantastic piece of work. It's a wonderful, wonderful film, and it's a really, really accomplished piece of work. He didn't have to do anything after this. Definitely didn't have to do a pupil, but he didn't have to do anything after this. And he could have just been like, there you are, I'm one of the greatest directors in Hollywood history, really, for this film. But it is that good.
Yeah, it is. I really love that shot when you've got that tight close-up on Giancarlo Esposito, like that after that dead body scene.
Yeah.
And then the camera goes up and you see the boat ablaze.
Yeah.
What's such a fantastic shot that.
And he also saw parallels between this and The Wizard of Oz, which is really bizarre. He saw New York is Kansas, where daily life happens, and Los Angeles is Oz, where you have, the adventurous, larger-than-life characters, and Kobayashi, and is he the man or the man behind the curtain? Like, you have all these kind of different things that are put in there. But once you go to Los Angeles, it is a fairy tale, almost, this film.
Yeah.
Is this real? Is it not? And that's the whole point. You get to the end of the film and you go, oh, yeah, it's not.
No.
It is a fairy tale. It's all made up.
Yeah. Lofty comparisons from Singer, Oz, Rashomon, and Double Indemnity. Three of the greatest.
I fight you standing on one foot. I'll fight you with my eyes closed.
And I think what he does well, it's just that like unfurling of that complex narrative, which I think a lot of directors, especially that age, just 30, would have just been terrified by that. They're like, can you not explain it a bit more? Can we have some more exposition?
Well, no, not send me someone who can speak Hungarian. Yeah, he's awake. He's talking like a Thai hooker.
Revealing the information bit by bit, he paces so well, he keeps up the intrigue. And he wasn't appealing him to the actors. Spacey had seen Public Access and he'd met Singer at the Sundance Film Festival and told him, I will star in your next film, which is how he gets him in there. I think he handles the actors well because there were egos on this set. There was a lot of bad blood. Again, we'll get into that. And I think he channels that into the film and he gives it that edge. I think, there were moments where, I do think that the finale on the boat, it's well shot. But I was watching again the other night and I was just thinking, this could have been like really electric, the sequence I've seen, like imagine if like prime Brian De Palma directed that.
Oh yeah.
Of the Untouchables blowout. Could have been amazing.
Now you're talking my language.
Yeah, now we're talking.
And it's in New York.
It is in New York, lovely. Or even like Scorsese doing it, or anything like how Spielberg directs Munich in the assassination sequences. I think like this isn't quite up there with that, despite what Singer says about himself. So yeah, I think he does good work here, but his career's just a bit weird after this. Like you come back to this and you think, what kind of happened to that guy?
Yeah.
You know, why did he not go more in that direction? So a bit of a weird one for me, I think.
Yeah. So, on the whole, Singer displaying a lot of confidence in the director's chair, definitely belying his inexperience as well at the age of 30.
Yeah, definitely.
The title of the film came from an article Singer was reading in Spy magazine. It's also a line delivered by Claude Rains' character in Casablanca.
That's right, yeah.
Round up the usual suspects.
It was Chris McQuarrie's second screenplay. His first was also public access, working with Bryan Singer as well. So, Westy, what do you think of Christopher McQuarrie's screenplay for The Usual Suspects?
I think he does an incredible job. And it's just the depth he gets to each character. Each character seems equally important, which is really rare for a film like this.
Yeah.
You're kind of like, well, who's the focus here? Everyone's got something to say. Everyone's got an opinion. And they all battle against each other. But it all works as a part of that 5 people coming together. It's not, without it being pretentious either. There's no pretentious dialogue where you go, oh, for fuck's sake, that's just like, there's no rub your head dialogue with this.
The guy's fingered my asshole tonight.
Is it Friday already?
What the actor's brought to it on top of what he's written is even better. I mean, Del Toro's absolutely outrageous, and Baldwin's never been better than this. And on doing this as well, Singer led all 5 cast members to think that they were actually Kaiser Soze. No idea how he did that. No clue whatsoever, because 4 of them get killed pretty, like... Del Toro kind of think he's Kaiser Soze when he's dead.
There's no way he can.
But it's like Gabriel Byrne was so set on the fact that he was Kaiser Soze, and it got to the premiere and he stormed out after he saw the film and had an argument with Singer in the car park for half an hour saying, how am I not Kaiser Soze? But watch it again, because he is. And the thing about this film is that, and the thing about the writing is that we'll never know the truth of what happened, because all we're watching is what Verbal is saying. He's making it all up. We don't know what actually happened. It's brilliant in that way, because when you're watching the film, you're going, I'm actually watching a film. It's a made-up story, and you just never, ever think that when you're watching a film. You go, I'm watching an actual film. No, I'm watching a film within a film, and that's what's great about it.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's great, because the thing is, though, about like this whole thing about telling each one of the guys that said what they also did to maintain the mystery was he was 5 different people throughout the film for Soze. So you get Spacey and Gabriel Byrne, they both dressed up as Soze on the boat. Then they used a key grip for, the flashback sequence where he's got the amazing hair and the big arms. That was just a key grip.
He looks fucking amazing, him.
Yeah.
Imagine that. There's a fire behind you, just walk straight towards the camera. That's a key grip. Really?
Yeah. It looks like Antonio Banderas.
It looks like Desperado. It looks amazing.
Totally looks like that. And then you also use John Ottman, who is the composer and editor. Bit of a weird combo, but he did both.
Yeah.
They're his hands for when you get the close-up of Soze lighting a cigarette. And then that's Bryan Singer's feet in the close-up of Soze's shoes. So Singer got himself in there as well.
Soze was based on a real-life criminal named John List, who murdered his family before vanishing into thin air until he was found 18 years later, remarried with a new identity. He's dead now, so everybody can sleep safe.
Okay.
Don't worry anymore,
slacking him off.
Well, what I want to talk about is the details that hint towards, the resolution, particularly Kint being Kaiser Soze. It's very easy to miss, but there are a load of key details throughout the film that hint towards these major plot points. Some subtle, some not so subtle.
There is no way that anybody can figure this movie out after the first 10 minutes or the first hour, even though the evidence is planted throughout the film.
But it's always fun to revisit the film and see how these play out.
Yeah.
For example, when the characters are given their life story envelopes by Kobayashi, Keaton dishes them out in the order that they die in the film.
Yeah.
I mean, you would never pick that up.
No.
It's foreshadowed at the start that Hockney is the gun hijacker. the gun truck hijacker. When the five are in the cell, it's Hockney who's lying down, and a little while later, Cujon lays down his theory about how you tell someone's guilty.
Sleep,
yeah.
Let's say you arrest 3 guys for the same killing. You put them all in jail overnight. The next morning, whoever's sleeping is your man. You see, if you're guilty, you know you're caught. You get some rest.
And then it's confirmed by Kobayashi later. He fingers Hockney for the job. I mean, what kind of accent is that anyway on Kobayashi? Yeah. Mr. Hockney! It's ridiculous.
I love it though.
Sometimes it's Welsh.
It's
sometimes
really
it's
Moorish.
Irish.
It's really Moorish.
It's really good.
2 months ago, Mr. Hockney stole a truck carrying gun parts through Queens.
There's also a hell of a lot of clues left to Soze's identity throughout the film. So the names Verbal Kint and Kaiser Soze have the same amount of letters. That's a stretch. But still, Kevin Spacey and Kaiser Soze, they have the same initials. Again, a stretch, but
sounds like one of my shit theories.
Verbal is the only one not shown to be arrested at the start of the film, like you said, Westy.
Yeah.
In the final boat scene, every point of view shot of Soze comes after a shot of Kint.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
And probably the most obvious one, Soze's golden lighter is among Kint's belongings when he leaves at the end. Yeah. Probably the one where the penny drops, that one.
Yeah.
Not for Cujon.
Give it away by then.
He never gets behind the ropes either. He stops if you watch it again.
That's
he
right.
stops just behind the tires, I think, and never gets behind the ropes. So there's nobody there.
Yeah,
he's never there.
Mm-hmm. So many clues, and I think most are, easy to miss. But because of the ending, I think McQuarrie and Singer would have known that this film was ripe for repeat viewings, so they dropped the little Easter eggs in there for the audience, which I think is a really nice touch and just adds a lot of weight to the film upon rewatch.
Just enough though. Any more it would have been like fucking Scooby-Doo.
Yes, might have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for these blasted kids and their dogs.
Matt, what about you and the screenplay?
Yeah, I think it's the real strength of the film, this. You can pick it to pieces to uncover why it's great and why it works so well. And one thing I want to talk about is that narrative structure, because start off with a flashback, then we get to the present with a voiceover from Verbal, so we're seeing it from his perspective. Then we see the custom agent investigating the deaths while Cujon is arresting Keaton and the other guys in a flashback that goes back even further. Yeah. And that's just the first 50 minutes. Like, your head hurts just thinking about it. Like, it's so complex, but McQuarrie just gets the balance so perfect because it's a script that's like one step ahead of you at all points. But you feel you're so close to catching up to it and getting hold of all those pieces and putting it together. But then he just like snatches his way again. Sprints, It's really clever.
It's really tough. Yeah.
And I love the world building you get in here as well. And by that, I mean, it just feels very lived in. Like, it's to do with the performances as well. But I do believe each of these 5 guys has a history going back years of criminality. Like, I believe Cujon has been after Keaton for years and Keaton was an ex-cop. So I totally believe the bad blood that's between those two. And like when Cujon's telling that story of how Keaton just disappeared and all those witnesses died. Yeah. That just feels like you're getting a little glimpse of this much bigger story that's going on around you. And you're like, which bit's important? What
I don't know what to hang on to here.
You don't, which is so intentional. It's so clever. The names are great. And I know McQuarrie used to work at a law firm before he became a writer. So a lot of the character names are taken from there. So he had a boss who was called Kaiser Sume. That obviously tweaked a little bit. That becomes Kaiser Soze. But if you speak Turkish, you know that the literal translation of Soze talks too much, which is another clue to flag up. Yeah. It's verbal.
It's like King talks too much, isn't it? Or something like that? Yeah.
Talks too much, exactly.
So we need to speak Turkish and Hungarian to have any chance of understanding what the hell's going on.
Any chance of working it out, It's brilliant. And then mix in, you've got like Verbal's world building as well, going to meet Redfoot, everything that happens there. And it's blended so well. I still have to sit and think like, what's true? Which bits really happened? Which bits are just made up bullshit? Like, it's so cleverly bullshit.
Done. That's the thing. You don't know.
Yeah.
No idea.
It's a head spinner. So, very laid and detailed writing from a rookie screenwriter. Probably unsurprising that McQuarrie's career has gone from strength to strength since. I mean, he works exclusively with Tom Cruise in the last 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Like so many standout films in the 90s, The Usual Suspects largely consists of relative unknowns at the time, with Gabriel Byrne probably the most recognisable. We picked out our favourites here, none of which are Gabriel Byrne. Matt, who are you going for?
Really? Okay.
Short Shrift.
Well, See, here's the thing. I think I've let you like slightly up a blind alley here, Luke, because we're safe favourites, and it's a great cast. But I have to be honest, it's always not going to be a love-in necessarily on these episodes, and I just have to talk about Stephen Baldwin because he just does my head in this film.
Okay,
I
think it was nice. This is
my
my favorite bad character.
I'm surprised when you put him up, to be honest, Matt.
Well, there you go. See, it all makes sense now because I just think like watching him try to act the hard man in this is quite painful at times.
What truck? The truck with the guns, fucko. Fucko.
Like, you know, when you're a teenager and there's like a gang of kids from the other school or from the other end of town who are all like hard lads, except there's one who'll always be like a gobby little shit.
Yeah.
But he's protected because he's with the other hard kids. That's Stephen Baldwin in this. Like, just mouthing off constantly. I just don't think he's got the presence or the
Richard
conviction
Hammond
to justify it.
Hammond?
You know what? That's not the worst comparison, I admit. Richard Hammond in Top Gear, it's like that. Like, I do not believe for 1 second he's one of the 5 toughest criminals in the city capable of pulling off this job. Like, that bit where they ambush Kobayashi and he's like, I'm the guy that's going to get you. I just want you to know that.
I'm the guy that's going to get you. I just wanted you to know that.
No, I don't know how he does it, but he's wooden and hammy at the same time. Like that bit where he's got the 2 guns and he's trying to decide who to shoot. He just looks like some weird, like, malfunctioning kid's toy.
He looks like RoboCop.
Yeah, ridiculous. And I know he went method for this. And, like, very famously, he and Kevin Pollak couldn't stand each other.
No.
Because Baldwin was staying in character in between takes, and that rubbed Pollak up the wrong way. And Baldwin said, well, I was purposely bullying Pollak to create the tension between us on screen. And I'd say, no, come on.
Yeah, you're an actor.
You're not De Niro, mate. You know, like, you're like the 3rd best Baldwin brother at best, probably. You know, don't give us the whole method thing. You know, and if you see him on the special features, he's so unbelievably pompous.
That's why I make movies. I won't compromise anything when it comes to my performance.
Like, my genuine favorite moment with Baldwin is when Redfoot flicks a cigarette in his eye because he was supposed to aim it at his chest, but he got the aim wrong. So that's like Baldwin's genuine reaction.
Yeah.
Getting like cigarettes flicked in his eye. Really funny. It's the only time he's convincing in the film.
By the way, that's absolute proof that the film is lightning in a bottle. That even Stephen Baldwin is amazing in the film.
Wow. Baldwin slammed.
Yeah. Well, I haven't slammed anyone for a while, so I'll go in.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, Westy, are you talking about somebody you dislike or like?
Del Toro for me.
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro.
Of course. Yeah.
Is the lightest performance in this whole thing. He hasn't got much screen time. He hasn't got much to do. He hasn't got any backstory. No. There's no importance to his character whatsoever, apart from he's the first one that gets killed. And then that's the catalyst for everyone to kind of go, right, let's step this up. And he brings such a depth to it, such a brilliant, watchable character. He's just, like you said, when he walks away and he sees the police car, he's just in that music. And that's that walk, and he's got this vigor to him, and he's got this kind of zest. Yeah, and you're like, you know exactly who it is, and he's just intelligible. Like, Pollak was like, I can't understand what you're saying. Yeah. And the bit when he's just like, what did you say? Was actually Kevin Pollak going, what did you say? It wasn't in character going like, you know, what did you say, Fence? It was like, what the fuck did you say? Like, what are you talking about? Who stole the fucking truck? Where the fuck?
So who in the goddamn piss hell stole that fucking truck?
What did you say?
And he's just such a joy when he's talking, and it's such a joy in the line. He makes the line up what it is. It would have just been a bit boring. He's there and it's just like he's getting slapped off Bowman and he's slapping him back.
What the fuck?
What the fuck? Who stole the fuck? How many keys? Fucking cocksucker, what the fuck?
How many fucking keys? You cocksucker, what the fuck?
And it's just like, you can tell everyone's just like, this is so good, it's great. But I mean, the original role was meant to be for Harry Dean Stanton, which I would have found.
Yes, love Dean Stanton.
I love Dean Stanton, but you would have just went,
different take, I think.
Yeah, but you would have been gutted when he died. You would have been like,
I know,
Dean Stanton, surely that's Guy's associate, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, out of everyone, it was Spacey who suggested Del Toro.
Right.
And it was his idea to speak the way Fenster does, and Del Toro said, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to do that. I kind of think he read the script and went, I've got to do this because I need the money, and I'm going to be bored. So I'm just going to invent this.
I'm just going to be outrageous.
And yeah.
What are you saying?
I say he'll flip you.
He'll what?
Flip you. Flip you for real.
Yeah, I'm shaking.
And he thought the only reason the character existed was to add weight to the existence of the character of Kaiser Soze. So basically, his dialogue didn't matter at all.
And what you gotta go and do that? Trying to make a point.
He's so obviously guilty all the time.
Yeah.
And I love him for that. I just love the way he paints that character, and I think he's fantastic.
Well, I want to talk about Special Agent Kuyon, played by Calogero Lorenzo Palminteri. Chaz to his friends.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kuyon is the top dog, and he knows there's something missing in this whole affair, but he just can't quite put his finger on it. He kind of gets verbal in that room, and he kind of punches down to him because of his physical attributes. He thinks he can lord it all over him. He thinks if he can lean hard enough on him, he'll crack. And when that doesn't work, he resorts to the rough stuff. You mean he's bad as the criminals in this game?
Fucking cops.
And I think the film is structured in a way that we're seeing things unfold from Kuyon's perspective because he's being fed what Verbal's telling him.
Yeah.
And we're as in the dark as he is. Probably more so because it's really hard for the audience to reconcile his version of what kind of a man Keaton is with what we see on screen.
Yeah.
It's really because he's telling he's heinous and he's a killer and all of this. And he's a sweet man. He's just gone straight. And that's, kind of, we're being told it because, we predispose to believe the narrator.
Yeah.
But he probably is right about Keaton. But Verbal's version of events is a lot more powerful, particularly with the visual. Which that gets Verbal off the hook as well, because Kuyon is hell bent on Keaton being Soze, and none of that becomes clear until the credits roll. None of it.
Yeah, and he's hell bent on it. He's trying to prove it right.
Now you talk to me. Or that precious immunity they seem so fit to grant you won't be worth the paper the contract put out on your life is printed on.
That's he distorts the truth, so it becomes the truth.
Yeah, exactly. Because he wants his man, because he's been after him for years.
And how content is he when he's just at the end, just sat on the desk, just like,
yeah.
That was a good day's work.
And I really love this performance from Palminteri. His line delivery is flawless.
I'm smarter than you. And I'm going to find out what I want to know. And I'm going to get it from you whether you like it or not.
That's just magnificent dialogue, and his delivery is second to none.
The way he pronounces that T, whether you like it or not.
Oh, it's just great.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful.
Great.
I watch that all day.
Yeah. The role of Kuyon was written for Palminteri, but he didn't have a window to shoot his scenes. So other actors considered were Christopher Walken, De Niro, and Pacino, obviously. Pacino was in Heat at the same time, or was being cast in Heat, so he didn't want to take on a similar role, so he declined. And he has said since that not taking the role was the biggest regret of his career.
Really?
I don't know if I'm alone in thinking this, but we've talked about hundreds of films as a podcast and now on video. Yeah. Pacino said that at least 10 times, hasn't he?
Oh, loads of times.
I was going to say, was it not starring in Jack and Jill? I think I'd probably regret that a lot more.
Biggest regret of all time,
You want creamy goodness? I'm your friend. Say hello to my chocolate blend.
But Palminteri found a 1 week window in his schedule where he could shoot, and he was on board. It has been said that having him signed on secured financing for the film, which sounds ridiculous. But he was probably the second biggest star in the cast after Byrne. He directed De Niro in A Bronx Tale a few years before, and he was in Bullets Over Broadway.
Yeah.
Mid-90s was his time to shine. Yeah. Of course, then he did Jade, so everything fell apart.
He's not as good as David Caruso in Jade.
I'm sorry, man.
Fuck you, David.
Palminteri's just amazing in this. I absolutely
fantastic.
love it.
Yeah.
He's great.
He's he reminds me of like a really good pate on a really good cracker.
Fuck?
Beautiful. It's just Moorish.
Yeah, I want more pate and more Palminteri.
Yeah.
Pate Palminteri.
Cracker sauce.
It's genius.
Of course it is.
So 3 great performances there, fellas, not to mention great turns from Kevin Spacey in his first Oscar-winning turn, Gabriel Byrne, and Kevin Pollak. Matt, coming to you first. Mm-hmm. What are your highlights what is your one highlight from The Usual Suspects? We don't want multiple.
No. Stephen Baldwin.
When he gets the knife in the back of the neck. I love it.
Strangest thing.
Strangest thing.
Strangest thing.
No, going for the lineup scene. So iconic. Like,
oh, nice. Yeah.
Brilliant.
I don't know at what point they thought of it, but at some point just have that realization, that looks so good. That's our poster right there.
Yeah.
That's just such a moment. And so distinctive as an image, but it's the delivery of that one line they've got to repeat. Like what they all do. They mean, obviously, Baldwin hams it right up.
Give me the fucking keys, you fucking cocksucker motherfucker! Knock it off!
Del Toro mangles it.
Hand me the keys, you cocksucker.
In English, please.
Everyone else trying to deliver just this mixie of like boredom and contempt that they're being dragged in.
Hand me the keys, you fucking cocksucker.
But it's because it's so unexpectedly funny. Yeah. And that's because apparently Del Toro fought it 12 times during the takes.
All I remember is that someone farted. And no one knew.
Which just gave everyone the giggles. No one could keep a straight face. You know, they took lunch at one point to try and calm down, but as soon as they just got back up for another take, it just started again.
A fart is never not funny.
12 consecutive takes.
Yeah.
One after the other.
Exactly.
Every time.
It's supposed to be completely straight faced, which Singer was getting pretty furious about because he wanted the scene to be so like down the line. But then to his credit, he thought, you know what, this actually adds to the scene. It gives a bit more to the characters. I'm just going to leave it as it is. So that's why it is like that. And then I just love that continuation in the interrogation scenes. Like Kevin Pollak, I love him in this. And like he's so dry when they say he's been seen in Queens. He's like, really? Yeah. I live in Queens.
I could put you in Queens on the night of the hijacking.
Really? I live in Queens. Did you put that together yourself, Einstein?
And it's just like the relaying of information after we start to get into their background. So Fenster, McManus, they're a team. McManus knows about Keaton's history. He knows he's with a lawyer now. So what does that say about him? Not everyone knows who Verbal is, who's just so quiet, withdrawn in the background. And it's one of those scenes where once you know where the film is going, how it's going around, what's been going on, it plays so differently. And I think it's this point where the film is being, despite the fact it's been so complicated, I think this is just where it grabs you and you go, right, I'm in. I need to know what happens with these five guys now.
There's quite a famous edited for television version of this scene. The expletives are changed, so instead of
hand me the keys, you fucking cocksucker,
we are treated to
hand me the keys, you fairy godmother.
Like Shrek.
I'm sure the guys at the TV network were just looking for the most ludicrous thing they could put. Get Fairy Godmother in there.
Like the Coens one on Big Lebowski.
Stranger in the Alps.
See what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps?
And McCorry was asked at Sundance what his next film would be, and he said it's about a bunch of criminals at a police lineup. The Singer had the image, like Matt said, like, you get that image, it's really fucking iconic.
Yeah, it's really evocative.
There you are, there's the one sheet, there's your poster, and he started writing the screenplay from that image and worked backwards.
Right,
which is fantastic.
It's so iconic, that image from the decade. It's so iconic.
Yeah,
he declined the role at first, Gabriel Byrne, because he didn't think McQuarrie and Singer could pull it off. He then signed on, but backed out soon after, citing personal issues. And he finally signed on the dotted line after the promise of a 5-week shoot in LA, so he didn't have to travel because he lived in LA at the time. And there were only 2 days shooting in Manhattan, so he got away with it.
Yeah. Nice,
yeah, very nice, great scene. Westy, what about you?
Highlights. New York taxi service for me.
New York's finest taxi service was not your normal taxi service.
It's fantastic because it's just like Heat. At the same time as the same year the Heat comes out. What a great heist. You could have a whole film based around this heist. I think it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, it is
the
great.
way that they all
the
kind of
execution's great.
Yeah. You can see how professional they all are. You can see why they're all brought together. You can see how nobody's wasted. Like even Verbal's not wasted. He's got his place where he's just sitting on the floor, but he's exactly where he needs to be. And I think that's fucking great. And he says, give him the money. Give him the money.
Do it. Give him the money. Give me the fucking money. Give him the money.
And it's the voiceover as well. It's just like, it was beautiful.
Yeah,
it was just Keaton's
that overhead shot.
Yeah. And you just see it on fire and they get out and they're fucked. It's like...
Yeah.
You people know the fuck I am. Fuck.
What are you doing now, jerk off?
And it really sets it up as like an amazing heist that would normally be at the end of a film. That's at like the first third. And you just go, yeah, I fucking love it. That's when I fell in love with this film, is at that point when they drove away.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
You kind of go, yeah, okay. I'm with these guys. Let's see what they can do.
Yeah, it's an amazing scene. I think there's a hint here that McManus is Soze because he throws the lighter behind him to set the car alight.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Similar to what Soze does with the cigarette on the boat.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the mother of all reveal, twist ending extravaganzas.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. The scene that had 90s audiences wetting in their pants. Verbal is Soze. There's a scene near the start, right before Kujan goes in to talk to Verbal, where he's kind of scanning that bulletin board and he's putting it all together. But there's no way anybody could have ever put this ending together from there.
Not
but
at
the
all.
building blocks are there, like we've discussed. Even Sergeant Rabin, played by Dan Hedaya, expertly, love him.
Yeah,
he says that there's a system to his pigsty of a desk. He says it all makes sense.
It all makes sense when you look at it right. You gotta like stand back from it,
So struggling to get the narrative straight for the film, Macquarie called Singer after he'd written about 50 pages and said, what if the villain puts the whole story, pulls it all off a bulletin board? And Singer was like, that's a reason to make a fucking film. Yes, let's do that. And I think that's where Singer got it from. He got that from the Skokie, Illinois. Was the same. He was sat in, I think he was having a break from where he worked, and he saw that on the same thing, and he was kind of like, right, I'll just do that, and then started
it was
from
the
there.
same thing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, it's the editing in the scene when it all dawns on Kujan that makes the end, and that makes the film for me.
It does.
He knew there was something missing, and he realizes it far too late. And I think that moment is just magnificent.
That Kobayashi moment is fucking unreal.
Yeah, it is great. It is great.
And then when you look back at it, and he's looking up at his cup as he drinks, you're just like, there's Kobayashi.
The thing is, though, like Singer said at one point, like the film just died after the big reveal when he was editing it. And it was a bit of a rush job when he finally had the idea to do that montage of voiceover and images, scanning the bulletin board for the backstory for Soze.
Think back.
I'm sure you've heard many tall tales.
Bricks Marlin.
This isn't right.
I just want to hear your story.
It's all there. And I'm telling it straight, I swear.
It just shows you the impact editing has in post-production, doesn't it? Yeah. Because that could have been flat as a pancake, but with all of that combined, it's great. Okay, right. Controversial moment here.
Here we go.
This is a personal thing for me, but there's something about this reveal that just doesn't sit right with me, just from a narrative filmmaking point of view. There's no doubt it's one of the biggest twist endings. Everybody's caught completely off guard. Like I was saying before, you're predisposed to believe what you're being told. So we're essentially just being lied to over and over for an hour and 45.
Yeah.
And Singer knows that we'll believe we're being told what we're being told from the narrator. So I do feel as though I've been cheated a bit by the film. Manipulated, maybe. We don't get answers. We don't know what's true and what isn't. The majority of these characters may not even exist. Well, certainly not these version of these characters anyway.
Yeah. Isn't that every film?
No, it's not.
But it is. But you don't know.
I don't know. No, it pulls the rug, but it pulls the rug too much for me. Okay. I'm just left a little unsatisfied. There's an itch that still needs to be scratched. And I know that I might be alone in that. It just leaves me undernourished.
Do you know what makes me feel better about it? Is that that's how good Keyser Söze is. That you'll never, ever know who he's dealt with, what he's done, the stories that he spins, the yarns that he spins. That's how good he is.
And like that, he's gone.
Everything you've seen is bullshit.
It is. Everything is bullshit.
Yeah.
So why waste me time?
It's entertaining bullshit. I love it.
Okay, so the beginning, middle, and end covered very nicely in our highlights section. And it's not surprised that the film was such a revelation in the mid-90s because of that twist ending.
No, massive. Huge.
Should be an interest in this. Well, it always is. The world-famous ATRM rating.
World famous.
World famous. And I think I'll cut through the tension and I'll go first.
Okay.
And it's a tricky one because of what I've just said.
I'm curious about this.
Be quiet.
I'm curious about it.
I think visually it's great, and we've been talking about it. I love the narrative structure of the writing. The performances are all, generally top-notch. Palminteri, Pollock, Postlethwaite in particular, I really like those guys. But everything hangs on that ending for me. That iconic ending, no doubt in that. But like I said, it is a personal thing. And I think I can liken it to, it's like at first it's exhilarating, oh my God, and then deflating when in retrospect, like eating a McDonald's. That's how I've, that's my metaphor. Because at first it's amazing, oh, this tastes great, and then you're like, oh, you pig, why have you eaten that?
I'm still hungry.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for that reason, The Usual Suspects gets an 8 out of 10 for me.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. What about you, Westy?
I mean, you've seen it twice.
5 times
Five
now.
times, okay.
5 times now. I watched it 4 times in the last 2 weeks.
And that's why you're so pissed off. Don't watch it so many times.
Watching this shit again.
Oh, fucking hell. There's no resolve. It's a special one for me. It's a big one for me. I loved it. It's one of the first films that I saw where I felt like I was a real grown-up. And I kind of go to my dad and go, watch this. I've seen it. You haven't. Watch this film. I think the direction's absolutely fantastic. I think the writing's so tight. I think there is some really, really great performances in here. And it's one of my favourite films. I'll put it in my top 10 easily, I think. It's one that I'll revisit. I will. I just find it so easy to watch, and I find it so satisfying to watch. And I think it's a really, really brilliant piece of work. So I'm not going to go full marks because it has got bits like you've said, Luke. It's like, does this really exist? Does it matter? Does it not? And that is not a complete coda for me. It's not a full stop.
Right.
But it's good enough to give it a 9. 9 out of 10.
9. Very strong.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, it's a great film. Instant impact back then. And it's one of those, as soon as you saw it, you needed to find someone else who'd seen it.
You tell them about it.
Yeah.
Because you needed to talk about it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
Yeah.
Like, as an idea, it's so well done. And I just imagine back then there would have been so many like budding writers and directors who watched it and just felt really fucked off because someone got there before them to come up with this idea.
Definitely.
It's like,
what's the
why
point
didn't
in
I
me
think of
even-
that? You know, the unreliable narrator, like I mentioned before.
Yeah.
And you know, for all its complexity, it's actually a really simple twist. It's like, yeah, that guy's just talking bullshit. Just don't believe him.
Yeah.
Everything's crap. A brilliant idea, but is it perfect? No. The ending, I do want a little bit more from Bryan Singer for that boat sequence. And yeah, Baldwin just spoils an otherwise flawless cast.
Before you do me in...
So, ends up as a 9.
9.
Nice.
Okay.
Good.
Again, still strong.
Yeah.
So,
Very strong.
with all of our scores combined, that gives The Usual Suspects a 26 out of 30. Still doing well for itself.
28 years, fucking hell.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe to our YouTube account for more of the same and a lot more besides that as well. Like our videos and share with anybody that you can, please.
Yes.
Please do.
And to support us, you can become an All the Right Movies Patreon supporter and gain access to a brand new bonus show of The Cutting Room every month, just like this one. That keeps us going and means we can dedicate more time to these vids. And a special shout out to our Patreon supporters as well. Each and every one of you, your support really doesn't go unnoticed, guys and gals.
Absolutely not. Thank you so much.
Very
Really
much.
appreciate it. Thank you.
All the Right Movies started out a few years back. We recorded over 120 movie podcasts. The whole archive is available to our Patreon supporters, but you can also buy them individually on our website, alltherightmovies.com.
For pennies.
Yep.
Get them there or become an ATRM patron for the full set.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And that is a wrap. Like that, we're gone. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. We've enjoyed it. We hope you have too. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you
Cheers.
very much.
Bye-bye. Oh, good.
Lovely.
Right, okay. Right, let's nail this down before we quit. What do you want to do next?
For some reason, Zodiac is coming to mind. You know
Nice.
that Mark Ruffalo, Jake Gyllenhaal, Robert Downey Jr. film.
Really great. It's a startling achievement. Astonishing. I'd give it 5 stars. Also, maybe cover the Karate Kid or something with a bonsai tree or something like that.
Really? Hey, having a laugh.